Texas tea. George Peet, what up, Bear? How you doing?
Good, man.
So you sort of missed it. You know, I had all the rest of the Blixen boys over there yesterday.
Yeah, I know. They're working and hanging out.
You're working. Yeah, you're working. They're Cat Ones.
Yeah, exactly. So, whatever.
There you go. In fact, we had a long conversation with a bunch of the top Cat Ones about the system and about, you know, the sacrifices the ones make who aren't working and the sacrifices the threes make who are working. And I don't know. I don't know where your take is on the whole thing. What you think about the system? It's just sort of popped in my head that I'd get your opinion too.
Oh, I think the system's flawed, and I think they, you know, right now, and actually a lot of it goes to you guys and kind of the way that the Melges class and some of the top classes manage their classes by having the owners fill out a crew declaration before the event. It's awesome. I travel all over the world with a lot of you guys, and I love to go online and look and see who's sailing on what boat and, you know, who's doing this and who's where and how they're doing. That being said, it should be pretty easy to police how many events guys are doing.
Right.
And you know, I just think it would kind of make everything better from a publicity standpoint for the classes, competitor standpoint, friends, families, and then, you know, the ISAF eligibility rules. Because then you have hardcore paper proof before the event, after, and during of basically how many times these guys have sailed top level, top tier events. I mean, it's just going to continue to get easier as more classes, you know, adopt the crew declaration form. So,
and do you think, I mean, that's the people that ISAF should be regulating as
yeah.
pros, is the people that are doing this enough days that they really can't be doing anything else?
Yeah. I mean, because you see all the same guys at all the same events who are so-called ones, and that's fine. And if that's all they do, that's fine. But, you know, I sail with some other guys, and it's like, you're not just doing the Melges 32 events, you're doing the Swan 45, you're doing the Melges 24, you're doing all the same events I'm doing, and I sail 200 days a year, 300 days a year.
Well, but in the rule, so, I mean, the rule does permit people who have some other independent means of, look at Dave, who have some other independent means of supporting themselves. It permits them to stay an amateur, and does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And you know, unfortunately, I think you just got to scrutinize people a little bit harder and say, are you really independently wealthy, or are you getting paid? I mean, Boris, one of my best friends, the guy is super lucky. His parents support the shit out of him, and actually us, and what we do.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just shit. Everybody wants that situation, you know? And
it's pretty rare, though.
It's pretty rare, and you got to take advantage of it if you have it. And that's the thing, it's pretty rare, so probably got to ask a few more questions. But at the end of the day, you know, we have what we have now, and I just think the way to do it is to kind of police the number of days guys are sailing and say, listen, we're going to make you a pro.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're going to have to hustle and build your skill sets and actually go and try to make some money. So that's what I think.
Fair enough. All right, I didn't mean to derail you. I really want to.
Okay.
I like this shirt. Look at this. I really want to know, compare what you're doing here with a newbie team, brother. Compare what you're doing here with a newbie team. Obviously, Bob's experienced sailor, one design sailor, but a newbie team racing compared to you know, being part of Blixen for, you know, all the way through the worlds.
You know, we always said this Blixen was a pretty special team. You know, all skiff sailors and guys who.
1 second. Yeah, go on.
All skiff sailors and guys who know exactly how to sail a sport boat fast. So basically, just instead of rolling into it and straight into, you know, working on boat speed, and I mean, our team was so phenomenal. It was always just the details straight away.
Right.
There were never any like,
major
this is how
issues.
we jive, this is what we got to do here. It was always straight into the details, which is awesome. So this boat, we're slowly getting there, you know, we're still sorting out people and positions. So
you climbed up today, I think, with a 12 and an 8 or an 11 and an 8 or something.
Yeah, we had a good day. We cocked it up pretty bad twice too, but it was good. And we're getting there, you know, we got a lot of work to do on our boat. You know, that was another thing with Blixen. We had 5 guys who would do boat work, who knew how to do rigging and trick their own little areas out. And we're getting there, you know. I'm showing these guys photos of stuff that we did to that boat, and, you know, we'll get there.
Will you maybe tomorrow, or maybe tomorrow morning before we go out, maybe will you walk me through the Heartbreaker and point out some of the things that people do to these boats to make them really fast?
I'd actually like to do it on Argo, if you want to ask Jason.
I'd love to.
Those guys, You know, I've worked with Ben a lot, and you know, we keep tabs on what each other, what each guy's
perfect.
doing, and their boat's still set up from the Worlds the same way that the top boats were set up there.
Awesome.
And that's just a little trick. Just finicky stuff, you think, but makes a big difference when you're trying.
Well, we've had a lot of, you know, we've actually had a lot of people ask us, you know, show us the speed bits, show us what the good guys are doing, and you know, obviously there are more people that are in this boat now. I mean, there's a bunch of these boats out there now. Some of them are sailing handicap in Sydney. Some of them are sailing, you know, in Seattle. You know, they're growing. So I think people are interested, and we'd love to have you walk us through a little bit of that stuff maybe later. Or,
yeah,
it's a nice early day today.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. See ya.